Waterman League is proud to present the Stand Up World Series, a World Championship series of events that will span the globe in 2012 to crown the first ever World Champion. Consisting of up to 18 events across 13 countries, the Stand Up global qualifying process that will result in one climactic World Championship Finals. To be held on the mystical North Shore of Oahu, we join some of the biggest names in the stand-up paddle racing world on the North Shore of Oahu as they prepared for the forerunner to the 2012 series to be held at Turtle Bay Resort. Over the past few years, stand-up paddling has taken the world by storm and is without doubt the fastest growing water sport, bringing surfing to everyone, everywhere, regardless of age, geography, or physical condition. Whether it be on the ocean, rivers, or lakes, stand-up paddling has something for everyone and has opened up the sport to a whole new demographic. Join us as we talk to some of the world's best racers about the sport and the forthcoming Stand-Up World Series.
Hey, Connor Baxter here. I more prefer the kind of anything, just getting in the water is super cool, long distance or the short sprinting in and out through the surf. As long as I'm in the water, it's super sick.
I prefer the long distance race, more the endurance racing, but the sprinting race is absolutely fun and it's a lot better for the spectators. So, both are fun, but I prefer the long distance.
Well, I like both. I like sprint race because it's very intense. I like to do long distance race, crossings, because it's all about ocean riding.
You know what, but I like both, but I would prefer long distance.
I like going back to sprint races after a long race because it's like, I don't know, you've been training for a really long race and all of a sudden you get into a small race and it's like you go as hard as you can and all of a sudden it's done. It's just a relief.
When looking at the most prominent figures in the development of water sports, Robbie Nash invariably comes out at top of the list, both as an athlete but also as an industry head, driving one of the leading brands in the sport. We sat down with Robbie to get his take on the stand-up paddle racing and the forthcoming Stand-Up World Racing Series.
Well, if you take stand-up as a whole worldwide right now, the wave side, the touring side, the racing side, the sport's obviously growing in a lot of different directions and really growing. The wave side has really solidified. The tour has been fantastic. So off to a really good start professionally, super high level. And now the racing side, which is actually more in touch with what most of the people that do stand up in the world, more in touch with what they do. Flat water, distance racing, sprint racing, that side of the sport is really coming together and it's time to solidify it and I think bring it into a unified world tour.
I think the greatest development is all the young characters coming up and showing their strengths against older characters. The future that they represent is a bright future.
We've got professional racers from all around the globe that are doing nothing but, stand up. A lot of them came from different sporting backgrounds. The technology's come a long way, and it's to the point now where it's a pretty respectable professional sport. And guys are racing everywhere around the world, and more and more and more every day. It's a really exciting time for the sport. I was there for the growth of windsurfing, and that was exciting times. Kite surfing, same thing. And now I've said it from the very beginning, with stand-up we've got a sport that embraces everybody from everywhere. Anybody can do it, and it's fun at every level. And what the very best guys in the world are doing is pretty much the same thing as what a recreational guy that just got into the sport is doing. So there's that accessibility and understanding. It's not like it's way out there and I don't get it. We're Connor Baxter, Dave Kalama, whoever it is, the best guys in the world at stand-up racing are standing on a board holding a paddle and paddling, and they're going, 5 or 6 miles an hour, and the guy that just learned to do it standing on a board holding a paddle and he's going 3 miles an hour. So it's really a very accessible playing field that everybody can understand.
I think the biggest thing is having, I like these 2-day events where they do like a short distance sprint and a long distance paddle, because each paddler is going to have different strengths and weaknesses. So if you have one event just focus on one style, it's not going to appeal to all racers. And so having a 2-day event where you do like a short distance sprint and a long distance paddle, and then really focusing on the overall winner, like having points for whoever does the best in both days.
Stay tuned, as when we come back, we'll be checking in with some of the very best racers in the world as they do battle at the North Shore Paddle Challenge held at the beautiful Turtle Bay Resort.
Yeah. Hey. How you doing? Yeah. Oh. 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 Yeah. Oh. Yeah. I got you.
Welcome back to the Stand Up World Series and our inaugural event at the stunning Turtle Bay Resort on the majestic North Shore of Oahu. We joined up with Turtle Bay Ambassador and two-time stand-up surfing world champion Kai Lenny to hear his take on his immersion into racing as we look at the 12'6" board class, now the standard for the 2012 Stand-Up World Series.
Hi, this is Kai Lenny here at the Turtle Bay Resort, the North Shore of Oahu. We're here for the North Shore Paddle Challenge, and here with me is my team captain from Nash. We're here to talk about how these boards are some of the best you could ride in the racing, huh?
Yeah, absolutely. The main part of the racing at Turtle Bay is gonna be on a 12'6", meaning that the board not only has to be fast, but it also has to have some surf characteristics, so you can troll it on the way out through the surf and then on the way in when you're actually surfing on a wave.
You know, I think it's kind of a little bit victory at sea right now because we have so much wind coming in and then a lot, a fair bit of swell. So it's not going to be your traditional Lake Tahoe, straight flat water paddle, which is going to make it exciting, but also, for a lot of racers who aren't used to riding, their boards in surf, it could be, very difficult.
Ideal conditions greet the athletes and spectators alike at Turtle Bay as the longboard lager sprint race of the North Shore Paddle Challenge gets underway and history is made. With 3 buoys marking the 2-lap course, the racers will have to navigate through the surf on the wave, also surf the waves coming down the point to complete the final leg of the course. With 6 riders per heat at a time, only the top 3 will advance through to the next round, so the pressure is on.
And that is the start. Heat 1, round 1. What a jump by Connor Baxter. What did you see that?
In round 1, heat 1, the spectators get to be quite literally right in the action, in the amphitheater setting that Turtle Bay provides. As one of racing's biggest names, Connor Baxter, battles it out against one of the Stand-Up World Surfing Tour's biggest stars, Zane Schweitzer. As expected, the Maui boys jump to the front of the pack right off the start, as they head towards the top buoy to be the first in line to catch a wave into the last buoy before the second lap.
Okay, Connor is starting to get on this little wave here. On the inside, Warren tries to make it across. Connor on the south, that's a good line. The valley.
Both Connor and Zane catch the same wave past the point, but Zane secures the better inside line and paddles hard to stay with it, allowing him to move ahead of Connor and take the lead. A lead that he goes maintain right through to the finish line.
Oh, it was fun. It's just a bit more better than any race I've ever done because you either got to poke through waves on the way out and then surf on the way, and it's exciting. Can't wait to get out again.
Right, getting in there.
In this unique format, wave knowledge, lecture, and patience play as much of a role as paddle technique and racing skills, as the real ground is made up on the final leg of each lap, where riders battle for position in the surf. Round the outside buoy, but by the inside you might have dropped back to last, depending on what surf came through and how you navigated it. So the race is certainly not over until it is over. Likewise, a highly competitive fleet of women racers battle it out in the surf slalom course, with Mariko Strickland from Kauai taking the win ahead of Rachel Brunch and Haley Harrison. Riding a flat rocker 12'6" board through head-high surf is no easy feat, and as the day progresses, the leaders in the racing world advance through the rounds one dramatic heat at a time, until the last climactic heat of the day, the men's sprint race finals.
Go! And it's on! This is our final heat of the day for all the marbles.
With the crowds on hand to cheer on their favorite athletes, all eyes are now on Maui-born frontrunners champion racer Connor Baxter and surf stars Kai Lenny and Zane Schweitzer. With an additional lap added for the final, the start is intense, as Kai Lenny grabs an early lead ahead of Connor Baxter and Zane Schweitzer. Kai gets caught up on the buoy lines, allowing Zane to squeak by and take a commanding lead, while Kai does his best to disentangle himself and get back up and running. Despite Kai's best efforts to catch up, Zane maintains his lead with some skilled surf riding, earning him the coveted sprint race title and $2,000 in prize money.
No, I honestly, I didn't expect it. I did it. So stoked, got a little bit of prize money, a little bit of bragging rights, and I had a great day. It's the most important thing. Mahalo to everyone. All right.
All right, so we left Turtle Bay, and now we're up at Harold Iggy's house, the shaper for Nash, and yeah, we're gonna talk to him about what's going on with Nash. Let's go check it out. Good to see you, Harold.
Hey.
Harold. So Harold, you've been shaping my boards for a pretty long time. When did you start? Like, when did you start shaping?
Boy, I started shaping quite a long time in the 60s, but when we started making sail boards, it was in the 80s, and then we started making boards for Robbie with Mistral, and that's how it started.
Now that, you know, with all of Harold's knowledge and all of your knowledge and Robbie's knowledge and all of our testing we do together, we actually can have faster boards than a custom board, but it's a production. Harold, what was the idea behind the nose on this board? Because it looks so much different than any other boards that I've ever seen.
What we're trying to do is, as you can see, we try as long as possible. And most of the time, a regular board you'll see here goes up to the nose, whereas this one, the deck comes down to the bottom, so we have a nice long water line, a 12-foot 6 water line. A V here so that we have a little bit more thickness here so that as you go, the water blends off. So we try to make a design so that it's not too deep, but the water runs off the tail, not just sits here as you're racing.
Yeah, I can't wait to use this for the distance race. I haven't been able to try this one yet, and I think it's gonna be a lot of fun. So yeah, it's 6 o'clock, so time for bed, racing style.
All right.
After an exciting day of sprint racing at Turtle Bay, a field of about 70 athletes take part in the second day of competition as they tackle the 13-mile downwind race from Turtle Bay down to Haleiwa, passing all the famous surf breaks of the North Shore, such as Sunset, Pipeline, and Waimea. After an hour and 40 minutes of demanding paddling in challenging conditions, Andrew LaGreco crossed the finish line first on his 12.6 stock board, securing first place in this prestigious downwind run. First in the open class was Jerry Best from the Big Island, and then in second place on the 12.6 division was stand-up paddle surfing world champion Kai Lenny. As the remainder of the fleet arrived, it became clear that this is a world-class course and a fitting and climactic close to the paddling season, providing the ultimate challenge for the competitors. Once back at Turtle Bay, it was time for the prize giving and a cold longboard lager, as the competitors received their awards with a second place finish in both the sprint and long distance races. World Surfing Champion Kai Lenny adds another title to his name, with the overall title for the North Shore Paddle Challenge at Turtle Bay Resort. Don't go away, as the Stand Up World Series travels to Fiji and the remote and beautiful island of Namotu for the first stop of the 2012 season, the Namotu World Paddle Challenge, presented by Air Pacific.
Hi, I'm Dave Kalama, and I'm here on Namotu Island, the beautiful country of Fiji, and I'd like to welcome you to the Namotu Island World Paddle Challenge presented by Air Pacific. This week for the Namotu Island World Paddle Challenge, we're going to have a few different things going on. We're going to have a 19-mile downwind race where they're all going to be on 12.6s with some of the fastest downwind paddlers in the world here right now. Then we're going to do a surf style in and out through the surf paddle race.
Bula and welcome to Fiji for one of the warmest welcomes and some of the most beautiful islands in the world, boasting hospitality that is second to none. Fiji is truly a magical place, unlike anywhere else in the world, where the culture is preserved and pure happiness prevails, away from all the stresses of everyday life. And there is nowhere better to call home in Fiji than Namotu Island, a piece of paradise lying away from it all in the Mamanuca chain.
It's been awesome. Yeah, I mean, no one from my family's ever been here, and I know I've just heard stories and stories and stories and how like unreal it is. And
I just think to come to Fiji, I mean, as everyone knows, the Fijian people are probably the friendliest people in the world. I mean, that's known throughout the world.
Yeah, we came out and it lives up to its hype. So if you're ever thinking about coming to Fiji, Namotu's the place.
I mean, Fiji really, it's about the water, the people, getting out there and getting amongst it, and going diving, going fishing, going hot air ballooning. I mean, we've got everything in Fiji that you want to do.
Oh, I love Fiji. Between the surf, the people, the beauty, it really is one of my favorite places on earth.
You jump off the plane and you jump on the boat from the mainland, start heading our way towards Tavarua and Namotu, and you know, you see these two little pieces of sand in the distance, and it's like, oh my God, we're going there. We're gonna be living on that for the next 10 days, and you know, just good, relaxing times.
However, this trip calls for action, as the assembled crew are here to race.
Good morning. It's the start of the Namotu World Paddle Challenge today, and the guys are all in the room getting their boards ready. With the way the wind is blowing right now, I think it's going to be really good. Maybe a little bit of a slow start, and it looks like it'll continue to get faster and faster and faster as you go. And a lot of nerves going right now, so a lot of excitement building up, and we're literally just minutes away from starting, so it should be good.
Connor Baxter here in Fiji, beautiful place, getting ready for the start. Can't really see Namotu, but it looks fun.
The Air Pacific downwind run from the Intercontinental Hotel at Natandola Beach to Namotu is one of the most grueling paddles imaginable, with a course that stretches over 23 miles of open ocean from start to finish.
Yeah, so on the distance leg of the Namotu World Paddle Challenge, it was tough. It was really tough.
Yeah, it was. I think we all kind of expected it to be a little bit easier than it really was.
I expected it to be kind of gnarly. Everyone's like, oh, we in the beginning of the race, we're like, oh, guessing our times, and I was optimistic and put my time under 3, but I had a feeling.
And we all put $10 into a pot, and we all guessed our time, and at the end of the race, whoever was closest to their time won the whole pot of money. And we were all guessing like 2 hours, 2 hours, 20 minutes. And by the time we were all done, I think the fastest time of the day was Connor, and he was like 3:20.
That was brutal. I mean, by far one of the harder races. I mean, it was just as hard, if not harder, than the Moloch guy. I mean,
we were a little bit longer than we expected for sure, but you know, it was a fun run. It was challenging, and they wouldn't call it the World Paddle Challenge for a reason, right?
Showcasing once again that he is the man to beat, Connor Baxter crosses the line in a familiar first place with a comfortable lead.
So Connor, you certainly proved that your price to come over here to Namotu to race here was worthwhile. How was that race for you?
So good. I mean, sure, had that brutal part at the end, but you always have to have that. But it was a great race, super fun.
Guy, pretty challenging run there. How was that?
Oh, it was a lot of fun. I mean, that was the longest run I've ever done before. And in the beginning was awesome. The glides were crazy, and it was a lot more surfing than paddling. And then about the second half was more grinding, especially at the very end. But it was still good.
A grueling paddle like that deserves an enticing reward, as the world's best head out to the famous reefs that surround Namotu and the neighboring Tavarua to recover before the next onslaught, the Tourism Fiji Surf Slalom.
Good morning, Dave Kalama here at the Nomotu Island World Paddle Challenge, and we're here on the morning of the surf slalom race. And there's some surf today. It's come up a little bit, so that's going to make it more exciting and more technical. So I think it's going to be a great race today. The competitors are gearing up right now and getting their strategies worked out. And the way the course is set, you're actually going to have to surf a little bit. You can't just come straight in on the wave. You're going to have to come down the line a bit. I think it's going to be really exciting, and the sun's come out today, so it's looking great. I think the slalom racing is perhaps one of the most exciting aspects of racing in general. It's not really a paddler's paddle race, it's a competitor's race.
Slalom is crazy. I'm going to be honest with you. The slalom is hard to win that race, and there's so much of Mother Nature involved. It's unreal. It's such a crazy event. It's like the motocross of stand-up.
Such a good course. Really punching through some real waves. Like definitely some overhead sets. Oh, it's good. It's a lot bigger than you expect, but some fun ones for sure. And can't wait for the next one.
It's like a NASCAR crash, except the cars keep going after they crash. They get taken out by a wave, but they jump back on their stuff and they get going again. And that's what makes it exciting. And then when they're catching a wave in, sometimes somebody's wave goes a little bit further than the other guy and he can make up room, and the lead's constantly going back and forth. And it's really an exciting part, for the spectators and for the racers themselves.
Yeah, it's great. It's a great style event. It's funner, more interactive, more carnage, better for the people who watch. It's great.
We all start, we know it's going to be maybe 15-20 minute course, and Dave Kalama would go buzz by at the start, so nobody's creeping along the start unless you're bored to get run over. It was good. Definitely a slalom race in the waves. For the finals I was in the lead, and then all of a sudden Kai was right next to me, and then you never really know in those kind of races. But that's the good thing about it. It's anyone's game.
Coming into the last stretch of the surf slalom finals, Kai Lenny is in the lead, but fellow Maui boys Connor Baxter and Zane Schweitzer are right on his heels, keeping the pressure squarely on Kai.
Oh, it was a gnarly race. At first Connor really got the lead, and then I got up to him, and then the whole race was so close. Until like the last 10 feet, I wasn't sure if I was gonna win it. Oh my God, that was by far the hardest one. Super windy. I think my paddle's chipped. Every time you take a stroke, hitting the reef, and yeah, but otherwise good fun.
Now he's winning the sprint slalom today. 2-time world champion Kai Lenny.
All right, what an incredible day that was for the surf slalom race. Kai and Connor had basically a battle for the ages. Fantastic day of racing. All the competitors really gave it their all.
While Nomotu seems so relaxed and calm, the tension is mounting as a tiebreaker is announced to decide the overall challenge winner between Air Pacific long distance champion Connor Baxter and Tourism Fiji surf slalom champion Kai Lenny.
Well, this is the tiebreak to end all tiebreaks. So we're doing this one around the island through the surf to kind of combine the long distance and surf riding elements to determine the final overall champion here at the Multi-World Paddle Challenge presented by Air Pacific.
After 3 days of intense and exhausting competition, the races are up again as they set off at full speed from the white sand of Nomotu Resort, with Connor Baxter taking the lead while the rest of the pack drafts him through the flatwater section of the course. As they hit the surf zone, Slater Trout sees an opening and makes a break for the lead, with young Jake Jensen from Australia right on his heels. The tiebreaker will not only decide Kai and Connor's fate, but also third place overall for the event, as Slater and Jake, Kai and Connor embark on man-to-man duels right to the finish line.
Feels great. Last challenge.
Number one right here, number one.
last challenge definitely put a toll on us. Super hot, no wind, and yeah, it was good.
Connor is just really, really fast. That's pretty much it.
That means the overall Namotu World Paddle Challenge for 2011.
Stay tuned to StandOutWorldSeries.com as we bring you all the action from the 2012 season in the lead up to the climactic World Championship Finals to be held at Turtle Bay Resort on the North Shore of Oahu in October.